Welcome to the Powers of Mind Hour on Sunday morning. I'm Brother Malcolm.
I'm Sister Carolyn.
And we're here today with you folks to share some wonderful enlightenment, some insights about a new way to think and live. Work within yourself. Trust yourself to change how you think about yourself. Revalue yourself with power. Sister Carolyn is going to get us started with this morning's broadcast, and she will be talking about Enlightenism, a new way to think and live. And she's a practitioner, a teacher, and a facilitator, workshop facilitator, conducting workshops around the country and online. Check her out, folks. Here's Sister Carolyn to get us started. Sister Carolyn.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Brother Malcolm. Truly, it is always a pleasure to do this broadcast and to provide the insights that create a new way to think and live. In this life that we've come to know, it is about getting to know yourself better and to be comfortable within yourself, with who you've created. And if you have not created the person that you want to be, that is what this broadcast is all about. It is about a new way to think and a new way to live, a new way to bring that power into your life by unlearning those beliefs that have kept you prisoner and a victim in your own life. This is about the power that you were born with. And I start this broadcast off by saying always that you are born whole, perfect, incomplete, faceless, formless, colorless, and ageless, and have everything that you will ever need for the journey. And when you know that and your beliefs surround that knowing, this is when you begin to understand more of who you are. That power that you were born with, that power that you have allowed to be taken from you, not so much willingly, but unknowingly, by family, socializations, school, all of the things that we bring into our lives from outside that says this is who you are and this is how you're supposed to think. This is right and this is wrong. And as children growing up, we simply follow those rules because we are learning to live outside. We are not creating a comfortable place to live inside. When something hurts or disturbs us in any way, we look outside of ourselves for the solution. This is what we're taught, and this is what we know. So we pass it on and pass it on. And so it is generations of toxicity, generations of victimology. And when we begin to understand that, we can then begin to unlearn those beliefs that have put us here. And when we say unlearn, we don't mean forget, never ever know again. It is about understanding that those beliefs, as long as they're fostered in the mind, don't create a livable place for us to be. They don't create a livable place for us to know who we are. They don't create a livable place for us to trust who we are. And when we can move into knowing who we are, when we can move into understanding how we got here, then we can understand how to move away from those notions where we look to the outside always for clarity. And the clarity is not outside, the clarity is inside. The clarity is knowing and accepting that you were born whole, perfect, and complete. No one paid a price for whatever sins they say you may have. It is unlearning those notions and not feeling guilty about who you are in this world. The acceptance is of the self. And so often we are not taught how to do or how to accept ourselves. How to do that. How do we accept who we are? Well, we take responsibility for where we are in our life. The first principle says, I take responsibility for the current conditions in my life. I take responsibility. Whether you say this or not, whether you believe this or not, you are responsible for what is happening in your life. Enlightenism says if you don't like who you are, you're not comfortable with who you are, this is a place to come. You come for a new way to think and a new way to live, a new way to be in your own life, so that you are not unsettled in your life, but you are settled. As a little girl learning California history and how people got here, they had settlers to come here and settle to live in California. And I use that as Enlightenism. When you come to Enlightenism, it is about settling into your own self. It is about accepting who you are. It is about taking responsibility. The settlers developed land. Well, we are developing and cultivating our own mind. And when we accept it in that way, then we can look to ourselves. And we can only look to ourselves when we begin to build the trust in ourselves, to let it unfold, and to be clear about who we are. When we say in Enlightenism, who am I aware of being? It is not a question for outsiders. It is not a question to ask your friends or your significant others or whoever. It is a question for you to answer. There's not a right or wrong answer. There's no one who's grading the test except you, because you have come to understand who you are aware of being. With Enlightenism, a new way to think and a new way to live is what this broadcast is all about. I encourage and I invite you to purchase Enlightenism. Enlightenism is truly a new way to think and live. Start with the 10 principles, the daily affirmations, for you to remove some of the beliefs that have kept you a victim in your own life. And now it's time for Brother Malcolm. And so I give you now, creator of Enlightenism and philosopher.
Thank you so much.
Malcolm.
Thank you, Sister Carolyn, for that wonderful introduction and those insights, folks. She lit it up again today with some new information about how to change how you think and live. That's why we do the broadcast, so we can get out of this powerless mindset and into the powerful mindset. Thank you, Sister Carolyn. So, folks, I want to get started here today on a powerful mind. Do you want to choose power over powerlessness? Would you prefer a powerful mind or a powerless one? I think most of you would say, I want a powerful mind. How do you get a powerful mind? That's what this broadcast is about. That's what the Enlightenism philosophy is about. is saying to you that regardless of where you are in the world today and what you perceive your conditions in the world to be, it's all coming from someone else's information about how to judge people, how to establish a criteria, how to determine if you're successful or if you're a failure. So when you think about it, you're using someone else's information to devalue yourself with an illusory interpretation about who you are. You are born with divine power and clarity. To understand what you were born with, you need a new knowledge base. I call it divine self-knowledge. You need to know that the greater power that created the world and everything in it and create everything you see in the universe is a power we cannot understand when our minds have been victimized by illusions about who we are and what we think of ourselves and what power we have. When we start measuring and evaluating people based upon race and color, gender, age, religion, status, and education, we no longer see the world the way it really is. We see the world the way we want it to be, the way we think it should be, the way we believe it should be, but our beliefs are coming from an awareness of being in an illusion. And you think that because people say something is so, it makes it so. The world is the way that it is, and we're in the world living with someone else's information, someone else's knowledge about who we are. For those of you who feel pain in your life, and you have tried many things to remove the pain, Enlightenism is directed toward you today. Those who feel the pain and suffering of everyday living and have tried many things to overcome the conditions in their lives, to get out of the pain. You've tried religion, you tried praying, you tried money, you tried status and education, you tried all of these things, and yet you still feel the pain and suffering in your life. So this broadcast today is about you understanding that you were born with divine power and clarity. And this power and clarity is developed and understood with divine self-knowledge. That requires a commitment on your part to move to another way of thinking to get out of the pain and suffering. If the other things didn't work in your life and you resign yourself to living a life of struggle, lack, limitation, and struggle, and you think that this is why you're in the world, that you have learned how to live with a powerless mindset in the world, and you think this is the only option, Enlightenism is another option. It's something that you can use to let go and unlearn the beliefs that you have about yourself and what you think about yourself in power. You are a powerful person. But now you may think that the world is powerful, and you want what the world has to offer. You believe the world can give you power. And I'm just asking you today, it's just a question. Who are you aware of being, and what is your level of pain and suffering today? And what things have you done to try to change it? Does the alcoholic stop trying to deal with the pain in their lives that causes them to drink and become an alcoholic or a drug addict or a food addict or a social media addict or a racial addict? What do you do to change it? You ever thought about it? Most people say, I don't want to change. And we can focus on the people that we think outcasts, like addicts, drug and alcohol and food addicts. We can talk about them, see them very easily because we want them to be like everybody else. But we don't see the other people. We don't see the addicts the political addicts, for example, the religious addicts, and the people that become addicted to someone else's beliefs, and you place your faith in the beliefs, and now you believe that if you use these beliefs, you'll change your life. And I am asking you today just to take a quiet time in your life to ask one simple question. Has it worked? Has it worked in your life that you are free of the pain and suffering of a powerless mind? And just the simplicity of the question and the answer says that if you're still in pain and suffering, you have resigned yourself to live the rest of your life and die in this pain and suffering with some misguided belief that somehow in your death, when you're dead, everything is going to be fine in your life because you believe it, because someone has told you about it that didn't know what they were talking about, but had heard it themselves from someone else. And you may realize that this is your life here today. And the pain you're experiencing today is the only pain that's coming from what you think of yourself. And that you could live a pain-free life today. You would have to stop struggling to be someone that you're not if you chose to think of yourself a different way. The choice is yours. But we're doing the work, Sister Carolyn and I, and others in the world, to talk about a new way to think and live. That you can have power. Choose a powerful mind over a powerless mind.
Yes.
Choose power over powerless. Choose power over being a victim. Choose freedom over struggling. You do not have to struggle for divine knowledge and divine power and clarity. It was given to you by the creator of all possibilities, the God consciousness within you. You have the power. But you are using other people's information to deny the power within you. You are powerful. You are great. And you were born with it, and no one can take this power away from you. It's called divine power and clarity, and it comes from divine self-knowledge.
Yes.
You are going to a new school to educate yourself that you are a very powerful person. I'm Brother Malcolm.
I'm Sister Carolyn.
And thank you for stopping by and visiting with us, folks.
Thanks for listening.
See you next time. Have a great day.